Hey there everybody, we're back. We're ready to make the filling for the cream horns. It's a very simple recipe and I've kind of developed it over the years. It's kind of a mix of the regular frosting that I do for cakes and things that I make, but it's a little bit more on the creamier side and a little more rich as well to make those cream horns just right in the middle. I'm not one for a super sweet kind of frosting, so if you are, you may want to just kind of cut back on the vegetable shortening and the cream cheese if you want to. If you like it a little more sweeter, that's completely up to you. So this basically kind of goes by taste. So like I said, it's completely up to you, but I'm going to show you what I do. So first I'm going to start off with the vegetable shortening. I just use regular Crisco, and I'm going to go ahead and put this into the mixer, and I have about 2 cups here. So 2 cups of shortening is going to go right into the mixing bowl. And I kind of just eyeballed it a little bit as far as the shortening goes. I just kind of made, took the measuring cup and kind of just filled it right up. And, didn't have to scrape it off or anything like that. I just kind of gob it in there, and then you can kind of go from there. So 2 cups of shortening, and then I'm gonna add 4 ounces of cream cheese. That's about a half a package. And I've let this set out so it has come to room temperature, softened a little bit, so you definitely want that. So that is going to add right into my mixture with the vegetable shortening. And then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna beat this for just a little while with the mixer to kind of incorporate everything and also to get it smooth and get some air in there. Now you're gonna notice that as you go with this recipe, the more you mix it, the better it's going to be, because you want as much air as possible in that mixture. This will definitely help with the airiness of it. When you bite into the pastry dough, with the flakiness of it, with the creaminess of the filling, it's just gonna be wonderful. So I'm gonna go ahead and increase the speed of this so that it can really start incorporating that cream cheese. If the cream cheese isn't quite to temperature, this will take care of it. I don't recommend taking it right out of the refrigerator and throwing it in here. If you're pressed for time, microwave for 10 seconds, okay? Put it on like a microwave plate, a safe plate, and just pop it in there for 8 to 10 seconds, and then you should be okay there. So that looks incorporated really well. It's getting all of the air kind of mixed into it. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start incorporating some other wet ingredients. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut this back to the stir stage on my stand mixer. If you're doing this by electric mixer, just the first click, okay? Now to this I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of freshly squeezed lemon juice. And that's just going to give it a little bit of citrus flavor. And I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla, real vanilla. And you can kind of gauge that. You can give it a little extra if you want to. And if you feel like it needs a little more lemon juice or needs a little more vanilla, then just go for it. Just add it. This is kind of a taste, like I said, as you go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to up the speed, and I'm going to really mix that at a high rate of speed. Now this is going to really start whipping in that air into the vegetable shortening and into the cream cheese that I already have in here, mixed with the vanilla and the lemon juice. Really starts to smell really good. All right, now I'm going to cut that back to a stir, and here comes the confectionery sugar. Now I've got 2 pounds here, and I'm going to use the whole 2 pounds. Now, as you notice, I'm spooning this in. I'm going to let this incorporate as we go. This is going to kind of turn out a little stiff at first, but the more we mix it, we're going to add a little bit of half and half to it as well. That cream cheese is going to solidify even more and mix right in with this confectionery sugar to be able to just bring it right to the perfect consistency. And like I said, we'll add a little bit of half and half to this as we go, and it will be just perfect. Now, if you find that you don't need the whole 2 pounds, you can definitely cut back. But what I like to do with this is this keeps in the refrigerator for weeks. So I will make up a big batch of it. I'm always making cakes or cupcakes or pastries. So I this doesn't really go to waste here. But if you don't need it right away, put it in a Tupperware safe container with a lid, a nice tight airlock lid, and you can keep, like I said, keep this right in the refrigerator. And it will last you at least a month. So, if you don't want to make it all tonight or next week, you've got some left over. So as you can see, I still have that on that stir mode. Now what this is also doing, by adding this a little bit at a time, it's creating a little bit less of a mess. Because we all know that once we turn this on and it starts going, it can go everywhere. The other day I was making a cake and I wasn't even paying attention, and I turned the mixer on and the confectionery sugar went everywhere. I was cleaning it up for like 2 days. I would find little bits here and there down into the corner of between the refrigerator and the cabinet. Oh my goodness, it was awful. But I finally got it all cleaned up. Sometimes that's the price you pay to have yumminess around the house. So I am almost done with the 2 pounds here. And once you get down towards the bottom, we can probably just end up dumping all this in. But this mixture is coming together really well. It's still fairly soft. You can tell it's starting to pull away from the sides of the bowl as far as the confectionery sugar and the vegetable shortening. So you can tell that it's starting to get thicker. But I want this all incorporated, and I want this to mix for a little bit before I add the half and half. Because at this point, you'll be able to gauge exactly how much half and half you're gonna need. And like I said, it really all depends on how warm your Crisco is, how much your cream cheese is softened, and that's exactly what it is. It just all depends on temperature with this. Now, if your cream cheese maybe was a little colder, it may be getting a little bit harder quicker, okay? So just eyeball it. And when in doubt, stop and taste it. You'll know what to add. You say, oh, it's a little too sweet, add a little more Crisco or add a little more cream cheese. Just be careful on the amount of cream cheese, because the more cream cheese you add, the runnier or the softer it's going to be. And you're gonna want some substance to it in order to really incorporate that air and get that going. Now I put in all 2 pounds of the confectionery sugar, and a little bit of vegetable shortening on the side. And I'm gonna go ahead and let that mix for just a little bit. And then after that, you can kind of tell when you're mixing it at home, you're gonna see it kind of pull away, like I said, from the sides. Now I'm gonna go ahead and turn this up. It's all incorporated really well. It looks really, really good. Now that's been going for just a short time. I'm gonna cut it right back down to the stir stage. Now to this, half and half, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon to a tablespoon and a half. Now I've got a teaspoon here, so I'm gonna kind of gauge it. So I'm gonna do actually 3 teaspoons, a little over, 3 rounded teaspoons of the half and half. Now, the good thing about half and half is it's not real runny, okay? So you can actually add more half and half than you can milk. The more half and half you add, the creamier it's going to be, but just watch that consistency. Stop, scrape it out, test it. You're gonna wanna squeeze it through a tube into those cream horns pretty easily. So just kind of gauge it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna turn this up on high. Now I'm gonna let this mix for about 5 minutes. We really want it to be fluffy. So in a few minutes, I'm gonna come back, then this is gonna be just right. So we'll see you back in a few minutes, and then we're gonna take out the puff pastries and we're gonna let them cool. And as soon as they're cooled, then we're gonna fill them with the frosting. So we'll be back in just a few minutes.